On the cliffs where oceans wail, the kelp gull tells a fishy tale. With eyes so keen and beak so bright, it spies a meal that's quite a sight. A right whale feasts on plankton small. The kelp gull swoops, not shy at all. It pecks and nibbles, takes its share, a gourmet feast beyond compare. So if you see this feathered fellow, with beak all stained from blubber yellow, know he's dining in grand style on right whale snacks, mile by mile.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy, your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, Richard Caspar, Lottie and Aubrey, Gray Hughes, and Wednesday Rabbit. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about an aerial ace, fry thief, but more on that later.
Aerial Ace. It's a good Pokemon move.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, of course you were. It's definitely what I was thinking of. But what are we talking about?
We're talking about the Kelp Gull. The gulp.
The fry. The gulp. Yeah, the kelp gull. I forgot where I heard about this. But once I heard the major fact, I was like, I think this goes in the show. We're going to call it here the blubber bandit bird, the oceanic opportunist, and surf and turf.
I like it.
For reasons that will become apparent later.
Surf and turf. Okay, would you like to know what science calls it?
I would.
It is in the domain Eukaryota.
I knew it. It's always in that domain.
Organisms. You know, organisms whose cells have membrane-bound nucleuses.
That's me. That's
That's my chief identifier.
It's like this TurboTax commercials. That's me.
The kingdom is Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. The class is Aves. The order is Charandriformes. I was thrown off because it's not in Passeriformes.
Is it Charandriformes or Charadriformes? Charadriformes.
I was thinking of
There's two eyes
Chandra
there.
or whatever from Magic the Gathering.
For the Planeswalker. I think the two eyes are Ea.
EE forms.
EEE. Aaron.
So, you know, the president of Ukraine, the name, like,
Zelensky.
it's hard to spell his name right. His name is Zelensky. Some people spell it, and I don't know, there must be an option. Some people spell it with an IY at the end. Some people spell it with two Y's at the end.
Like
and his name's not Vladimir. His first name's not Vladimir, it's Volodymyr. VOLO.
Oh.
So that's like a misspelling nightmare. Anyway.
Yeah, interesting. I've never
in
even
terms of,
considered
like,
spelling that man's name. So
two vowel sounds in a row. Vladimir Zelensky.
And we have Charadriformes.
Mm-hmm. Then the family is Laridae. And that's gulls, skimmers, and kittiwakes, and noddies and terns.
Schemers and naughties.
What's skimmers and kittiwakes? Tiddlywinks. Skidamarinka-dinka-dink. Skidamarinka-doo.
heard that song too many times over the last couple of years.
The genus is Larus. The species is Dominicanus. Larus dominicanus.
Dominican Larry. Dominican Lawrence.
You just spoiled nitty-gritty nomenclature.
That's because we're not doing nitty-gritty nomenclature. We're doing a bird, and the ornithologists have come through again with a term of entry. So it's time for my favorite part of the show, critter groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question. That question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal, or what is the term of entry, or what is the collective noun? If you saw a group of gulls, which living in southeast Florida, I'm sure you are familiar with. Would you call it A, an aviary of gulls, B, a batch of gulls, C, a colony of gulls, or D, a dance of gulls? Aviary, batch, colony, and dance. See, if it were ichthyologists, I would say it's A, flock, B, flock, C, flock, or D, flock.
Colony, final answer.
That's correct. Colony is the right answer.
You know why? Because I'm pretty sure penguins live in a colony, and they're also seabirds. So if you poop on the beach, you live in your colony.
But penguins poop
or you're
on
at
rocks,
the dog beach.
and also on ice. And gulls poop on you. So, what?
Speaking of nitty-gritty nomenclature, we got 3 new votes for nitty-gritty nomenclature.
Nice. Do we have just a landslide lead here?
We have 1 new vote for Measure Up, but that vote has been made anonymously.
They know where the tides have turned.
Yeah, you can tell which what is popular in the culture, what is acceptable, where the Overton window is.
This is the hegemony.
Where you have to
hegemony or whatever.
Yeah, you have to secretly
spiral of silence.
But yeah, Laura, Calvin, and Julia are all pro nitty-gritty nomenclature.
Yeah, we got that vote. We got that family vote. That's the power of a nuclear family, by the way. Is you can vote as a unit.
So what is that? 5 for nitty-gritty and 2 for Measure Up? We're falling behind Measure Up fans.
No, I'm gonna have to put in the little blurb, the listener's favorite part of the show.
We'll see. We'll see in November.
Are we gonna close the voting on the day of the presidential election?
That would be fun. Yeah. So that was that. Do you want to know what it looks like?
I sure do.
It's a seabird. Kelp gulls are like seagulls. They have black upper parts and wings, and the head, underbelly, and tail are white. Underparts are white. The counter shading. I think there's gray in there too. There's like the wings are black, grayish black, like a slate gray.
The best kind of gray.
And they got yellow feet. The bill is also yellow with a distinctive red spot. And the legs I'm seeing are yellow greenish. But I'm only seeing, with my eyes, I'm only seeing yellow. And the yellow parts become brighter during the breeding season.
Same.
So they oh, it does have a distinctive yellow. I thought it was just eating something red.
It's got a beauty mark.
Is that part of the beak? Wow, wow. They do have a little yellow tip to the underside of their beak.
That's their Marilyn Monroe mole. It's their trademark.
They also have red
imperfection.
eyeliner.
Like Marilyn Monroe.
Like Marilyn Manson.
Like Marilyn Manson. Two very different
But
Marilyns.
that brings us to the listener's current favorite part of the show. Well, for now. Welcome to the Blood Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show, the part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtextanime@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week, which means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is or what it's from.
I actually kind of like this game, even though... Because I either, like, know it or I absolutely don't, and I can't even guess. So there's a comfort in not in that. I don't have to do any math.
And
not yet.
I'm less interested in trying to
Stump me.
stump you on this one because I'm just happy to find something. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
That's not a gull. That's a pelican.
It's a seabird. Yeah, it's a
Gerald
pelican.
doesn't even have anything to say. The only thing the seagulls say in that movie is mine.
Fine. There you go.
There you go. There's the seagulls. You could have gone with what is it? Oh no, he's an albatross, isn't he, from The Little Mermaid?
Yes. There's also, isn't there an albatross in The Rescuers?
Yes, he's an albatross, that guy. Probably like the same. You know how they take like those same animation, like wireframes for like Mowgli and for Arthur in the Sword in the Stone. Like it's they have some of the same exact movements because they just
Arthur the Aardvark.
I bet you like when they did the Rescuers, it was the same thing as there were some same movements as the whatever's. It starts with an S from The Little Mermaid. That seagull she's friends
Scuttle.
with. Scuttle, yep, that one.
Okay, let's talk wingspan. They are 45 to 65 centimeters, or 21 to 26 inches in body length, but their wingspans are 128 to 142 centimeters, or 50 to 56 inches.
That
So
is
we're
a
on by 56 inches.
big wingspan. It's like almost 6 feet
Yeah.
wide.
It's a big bird, I guess. It's like an albatross.
Yeah.
Albatrosses are long-winged. Kelp gull wingspans are the same as 4 kelp gull eggs, top to bottom. B, 1/418 millionth the length of the French-German border. Or C, 1/33 the height of St. Hans Often bonfire.
What is the last one?
The last one, St. Hans Often, Afton. It's a Norwegian word that means Saint, like John's Eve. It's a bonfire on like midsummer bonfire.
And it's always the same height?
No, I think this is a particular one. St. Hans Often bonfire.
Okay.
I looked up tall bonfire.
Burning Man, right? That's a pretty big one. The gajillionth of the French-German border. Final answer.
Correct answer is 1/33rd, the height of St. Hans
Oh.
Often's bonfire. The St. Hans Often bonfire is set in Ålesund, Norway, to celebrate the birthday of John the Baptist and also Midsummer's Eve. It's 150 feet tall. 155 feet tall.
Yeah, I knew
The
it wasn't the
structure that
eggs
is
because even
burned.
ostrich eggs, 4 ostrich eggs stacked on top of each other wouldn't be 6 feet tall.
Yeah. That was I thought that was going to be easy because of the specificity of the third one. Let's talk about their weight. Adult males weigh an average of 1,000 grams, or 2.2 pounds. And females weigh 900 grams, or 2 pounds. The kelp wing is not the same weight as A, 1,000 paper clips, B, 1,000 number 2 pencils, or C, 1,000 raisins. So you're looking for the
Final
thing
answer.
that is not.
It's a lot
Final
easier to
answer?
find the one that's not like the others than it is to find the one that is correct. So yes, the number 2 pencils is the odd one out.
That is correct. They paper clips and raisins are both a gram, and number 2 pencils can be as much as 10 grams.
Yeah, take that,
It's
Ticonderoga.
like 5 to 10 grams. That's all I got for that. Would you like to hear some fast facts before we get into the major fact?
I would.
The kelp gull breeds along the coast, along coasts and islands of the southern hemisphere. Some species are found in South America, parts of Australia, and New Zealand. And in Australia, it overlaps with the Pacific gull. In New Zealand, it is known as the black-backed gull. Southern black-backed gulls, or mollyhawk, which is cool.
That's
I
a
like
good
that.
one. That's a nice. I mean, it doesn't really. It's not very descriptive of this bird in particular, but that's a good bird name.
You could also call it by its Maori name, Karoro.
Nope, mollyhawk. Sorry.
My neighbor Karoro. Another species is called the Cape Gull, and it's found in a subspecies. It's called the Cape Gull, and it's found in southern Africa. What do they eat? In general terms, they are omnivores. They're scavengers. They hunt mostly for small prey, but they'll also eat garbage. Your French fries. They are known to gather at landfills and have even been observed feeding on. I'll save that for later. I was at where was I? I think SeaWorld. And you could buy fish and throw them to sea lions. But you had to fake it. You had to do a fake toss and then throw it. Because if you threw it, seagulls would snatch it out of the air.
Out of the air.
Yes, out of the air.
That sounds as interesting as throwing it to a sea lion.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun to try to get it past the seagulls to the. You're playing football with animals at this point. Try not to get an interception.
That's impressive though. I'm impressed when I chuck something like an ice cube at my dog and he catches it in his mouth. Can't imagine intercepting a fish.
Yeah. And sometimes going perpendicular.
It's so much
you're
harder.
throwing. Yeah, they're having to track. Well, I can't even imagine. Let's talk about nesting. Kelp gulls nest on land, typically on coasts and islands. They reproduce via internal fertilization, so they don't lay the eggs first. They do it regular style. The females lay fertilized eggs in nests and in nests built directly on the ground, so they don't nest in trees. They're ground birds. Apparently, they don't have very many natural predators, but sometimes they might be eaten by a coastal shark when floating on the surface of the sea.
Just a constant fear of mine if I were a seagull. Like, it's like, hey, do you want to go float in the? No. Why? I'm gonna fly over the water and sit on land. Thank you. There's no sitting on the water. There's stuff in there that wants to eat me.
You gotta take a rest every once in a while.
Yeah,
but that's all I got.
On my rock.
Do you have any big facts?
I do. I'm naming this one, 2 whales don't make a right, / a whale is a veritable smorgasbord.
Nice.
It's like a Fall Out Boy song. It has it's really long and has a slash in the middle. 2 names. So kelp gulls have been observed feeding on right whales since the mid-90s. Bomb dropped.
What happened in the 90s?
That
made them do that.
A turf war, apparently. It was
surf and turf war.
Surf and turf war. They both wanted different parts of LA, and they fought over it. So yeah, I mean this tiny bird. I mean, it's a pretty big bird, but relatively tiny bird is one of their primary prey species. Is a right whale, one of the biggest whale species in the world. Now, it doesn't kill the whale. So there, it actually acts. I couldn't find any source that called it a parasite, but this screams parasitism to me. Like I don't.
Are you a tick's prey? Are you a mosquito's prey?
Right, like it's, and just like we talked about the blood sucking finch, not too long ago. That will make an incision in a large bird, like a pelican or something, and then drink the blood. Like, that's just it being a parasite, not it being a hunter. But they were calling the right whale the kelp gull's prey. I mean, I guess because we'll let's just get into it. So the kelp gull will fly down onto a whale that has surfaced, and use its strong beak to peck down into the skin and blubber, which leaves the whale with these large open sores, and then it can eat around there. And some of these sores have been, like 2-3 feet long, or wide in diameter. These really big gaping wounds. And they'll mostly focus around the areas, the skin around the blowholes, because that's where the skin is the thinnest on a whale. And they'll either create a new wound or they'll find a wound that's already there and enlarge it. And they eat the blubber and the skin of the whales. And it's really high, like very high calorie food for them. And they'll specifically target mothers and calves in the right whale species, just because of the regular need for them to surface. It's just always so sad when like a mother and calf are just like always the primary target of like orcas and sharks and now
lions.
These and evil humans on Pandora in Avatar 2. So just because a calf needs to breathe a lot more often, needs to come up to the surface a lot more often than an adult does, and so the mother and calf will have to be at the surface a lot longer, a lot more frequently. So they land on their backs when they come up to breathe, and multiple gulls will attack at the same time. So I guess it's more of a because of the lack of covertness. Maybe it's not parasitism, where like almost every parasite does its best to not be noticed, at least until it's gotten what it wants. Like a mosquito has like an anesthetic in its saliva, so that you don't even realize you've been bitten until after it's gone. And like vampire bats make these really small incision on very large animals. But gulls will just attack the whales, no matter how painful it is, because they know that the whales have to be on the surface. And they're very easy to see and track while they're flying around. It's like the whale's not going to be able to surface without the gulls being there as soon as it surfaces. So yes, it can go underwater and then the feast is over, but then in like within the half hour it's got to come back up, and the gulls will be there. So whales have a hard time, can maybe deal with one, but it's a hard time shaking off dozens. And that's why they can make these wounds very quickly, because there's a lot of them. This leads to obviously a lot of stress and energy loss for the whales, particularly the calves. And this causes the whales to alter their surfacing behavior. They may try to stay underwater for longer, perform some evasive maneuvers while on the surface that they didn't have to before, or where they were not in the area where gulls were. And the wounds can become infected, which they have not like documented a whale dying from this, but it's definitely a possibility, and can obviously lead to long-term health problems, especially for calves. And this happens mostly in South America, off the coast of Argentina. Those Argentinian gulls, man, you can't. They're just ruthless.
Weird.
But yeah, so that's my best guess, is that the reason why this is the right whale is considered the gull's prey and not its host, is because possibly it doesn't need the whales to survive, and B, it's an active like mobbing attack that they do rather than a leech, like a covert,
right? Fair
siphoning of stuff. That's
if they did manage to like kill it, they would probably eat it.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of hosts. There's a lot of parasites where like they do, like the whole point is to kill the host or to get the host killed. We've talked about several like worms that will go into ants or snails and actively try to get that animal eaten by a bird or something like that. So it's the world of a parasite, I'm not making no objectivist jokes here. It's been a while since I played BioShock, so and that's all I got.
That's all I got.
All right, that was the Kelp Gull. We are coming in under time here. For you out there in Podcastia, set sail on the open ocean. Keep an eye out for large moving cetacean buffets, and pick on something your own size, unlike the Kelp Gull here in my dead taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Hope we hit the 30 with the intro. We've promised 30 minutes. Yeah. We've banked, though. We've banked a lot of excess, so.